Welcome into College Football Smothered and Covered. My name is Barrett Sallee. I appreciate you checking out the show. For your first timers out there, this is a show that was restarted in February of 2024, this past year, because I was forced to give up my very successful SEC Smothered and Covered show in about 2018, early in 2018. Not happy about that. Lost all the subscribers and all the followers. So we're building it back, baby. We're building it back from a national level here on the Believe Network. So if you like the show, if you don't like the show, whatever, as I say every single day, give me 5 stars, give me 1 stars, give the show a like, all that stuff. If you know how to use video podcasts or audio podcasts, you know how to tell the person or the folks that produce it what you like and what you dislike. So please, I love constructive criticism. So please give me that. And look, after eating what were 3 Chick-fil-A chicken biscuit bagels biscuits at Donuts with Dads this morning with my 8-year-old daughter, you can tell me to go work out and I will do it. I need to. It's getting a little rough around the edges over here, but that's neither here nor there. But like I say, also go listen to everybody, go watch everybody on the Believe Network, outside the Believe Network. Look, we all cover college football 24/7, 365. You deserve that. And at least us here at College Football Smothered and Covered, we try to support that. And I know a lot of folks out there in this world of new media do as well. So we're going to talk some Oregon State today, not in a good way. We'll also talk about some rules as far as transfers go that might be able to help in terms of maybe streamlining the process and doing what I think should be done in terms of keeping the student part of student athlete intact. But like I said, Oregon State, Beavers State from Breaking Tea. Check this shirt out, commemorating the 2022 win by the Beavers over the Ducks. And there are a lot of different ways you can create Oregon State shirts. Breaking Tea has done a very good job of that. So whether you're an Oregon State fan or you're not, go check out breakingtea.com/smothered and covered, breakingtea.com/smothered and covered. And you can get this bad boy. You can get something else, mugs, all kinds of stuff. But Breaking Tea, they tell you to wear the moment. They come out with shirts, viral shirts, an hour after events happen, whether they be with college teams or pro teams or whatever. So go check them out. They do a great job over there at Breaking Tea. So Heather Dinich does a great job covering playoff stuff, national topics, things like that over at ESPN.com. Heather does a great job. And this is something that popped yesterday that I think is very interesting. And for those who are not watching, I'll kind of read. I hate to read verbatim, but I'm going to have to read verbatim a little bit from what Heather wrote about some transfer legislation. And she writes, the NCAA Division I Council could adopt emergency legislation this month for a new transfer rule that would allow all undergraduate athletes to transfer and play immediately if they meet specific academic requirements. And the legislation would not limit the number of times an athlete could transfer either. There still would be transfer windows, spring and fall/winter. And you can't play in the same season, but you can transfer multiple times as long as you meet certain academic requirements. It's Masters Week. Golf clap. If you have seen Charlie Sheen and Emilio Estevez in Men at Work, golf clap. Golf clap. Very, very good, NCAA. It's rare that you stack up dubs, but you get a dub here, you get another one, you might be able to stack it on top of this one, because this is something that I've talked about for a very, very long time. Look, I've been in this business for over 20 years. And one of the things that I've harped on a lot, is the fact that players are limited in terms of where they can move. Coaches move all the time. Assistant coaches move all the time. It's such a fluid sport, and it's been that way forever in a lot of different ways. Player mobility is just now becoming a thing. So if you're going to call these players student athletes, and I'm not just talking about football players, I'm talking about everybody. If you're going to call these athletes student athletes, there still has to be some element of academics weaved in there. Now, in a world that I think is coming, you're going to have basically players be conduits for schools. They're not even going to go to school. They're not going to be students. They're just going to be athletes. That's coming down the road. Everything moves very slow in our sport, right? In the NCAA, everything goes at snail's pace. So if we're keeping the student part of student athlete intact, having emergency legislation means right now, emergency, got to do it right now, right? So students going to be a part of it. Tacking on academic requirements to change schools makes total sense. Now, there will be issues, but if you succeed in your academic endeavors, if you fulfill your requirements, and I think it should be a sliding scale. If you're a freshman, little higher. Sophomore, junior, senior, graduate student. All of the requirements go down as you get older. I think it would be beneficial to everybody. And not just the students, but the schools themselves, because they can sit there and boast, hey, we're proud academic institutions, whatever. We're in the AAU for the Big Ten or somebody else. Yeah, we graduated 95% of our players. Great. You can still boast that stuff. And it can be real. It can be something you're proud of. And, look, I think there's a misconception about college football players that they just are there to play. Like Cardell Jones said, we ain't there to play school. Well, yeah, some are. More than you think. But they're still athletes, and situations change. And if you can move around and you've succeeded as a student, that's fantastic. Now, one thing that would have to change with this is the transfer credit requirements. Because there was a quarterback, Grayson McCall, 2 years ago. A lot of his credits didn't transfer to a couple schools that he was considering. Because remember, he was in the portal. And so he was unable to transfer where he wanted to go, ended up playing at Coastal Carolina still. You'd have to tweak those a little bit. I don't know how you do that, but you'd have to. But I think something else should coincide with this. And I don't know how you make this across the board in terms of an academic program, but you should be able to major in football. College football players should be able to major in football. And what do I mean by that? Well, it's pretty simple. If you want to be a professional athlete, then you got to know how to play. You got to be successful at it, but you got to be successful with your personal finances. You got to be successful with your nutrition. You got to be successful with how you train, what you train, how you accept marketing opportunities. All of that stuff's important. Now, yes, professional teams, they absolutely have trainers, they have nutritionists, but you're not going to be a professional athlete forever, right? So you're going to need to know how to do that stuff eventually. You need to know how to balance your budget. You need all of this. And so if we have bizarre emphasis of academic, like not necessarily majors, but if you're majoring in art history, you're really gonna do anything with that? I don't know. I majored in radio, television, and film, and here I am in front of a microphone. So clearly, yeah, so you can be successful doing something, even if it sounds kind of amateurish. But if you're able to set a major that is across the board for athletes and tie that directly into academic requirements, then the people who play school, not go to school, can still find a way to go to class, learn something about what their future endeavors ideally would require, not just as a student athlete, but beyond. Because let's just say I played baseball, right? I could have gone to college at the smaller school level, was going to walk on a bigger school, just gave up. I'm a 6 foot, 195 pound first baseman. It's kind of hard to play first base if you're not that big in what is a power position. And I'm a fantastic defender, but there are much faster second baseman and shortstop. So I had to give up baseball, right? And that's going to happen. Everybody's giving up athletics at some point, right? What if I want to be a GM? What if I want to be a scout? What if I want to go into marketing or administration or whatever? That's what this major would be. And for those who don't want to major in pre-med or architecture or whatever, those student athletes that actually just want to be athletes, you can do it this way. I don't necessarily, again, know how you properly organize that across multiple different schools with different ideas. Some are liberal arts, some are engineering. I don't know how you do that, but that's pie in the sky. That would, I think, getting back to the proposal, the emergency legislation that Heather Dinich reported, that you can transfer as many times as possible as long as you meet academic requirements. That would basically cover everybody. The people who care about athletics and being a student, or the people that only care about athletics. But again, I don't run the NCAA. So, well, maybe I should. Maybe I should become a czar. I saw somebody on Twitter, this was a couple weeks ago, say that myself, Josh Pate, and Danny Cannell should run college football. I love those guys. I'm friends with those guys. That'd be awesome. I can't lift like Josh, and I can't talk like Cannell, although I can get close. But that'd be a lot of fun. This cracked me up from Pete Thamel from ESPN. This is yesterday. Sources: Oregon State star running back Damien Martinez has informed Oregon State coaches he intends to enter the portal when it opens in 5 days. He was set to make, this is literally in the report, which fascinates me. He was set to make more than $400,000 to play at Oregon State this year. I absolutely love that Pete reported it this way. First of all, $400,000 to play at an Oregon State program that doesn't have a home. I think that tells you what a star running back is worth, because Martinez is a stud and he's getting 400 G's at Oregon State. He's going to get $1 million somewhere. But the fact that Pete is reporting the actual dollar value is so damn awesome. I absolutely love it. I absolutely love it. It gives you proper perspective. We're sort of in this mode now. If you're not talking to agents and marketing folks and coaches, you're not getting specific numbers. I've heard from some coaches, so-and-so's getting, 500 or maybe $1 million or, 250, and offensive linemen who have the potential to start anywhere are getting over $1 million, things like that. We hear that a lot. But for a report to specifically state, yeah, he's pushing $400,000, he wants to go make more. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I love it. It tells us the proper perspective. It shows us what is happening behind the scenes. It opens the curtain a little bit on the new era of college football. And let me tell you, whoever gets Damien Martinez is getting a stud. 1185 on the ground and 9 touchdowns, 126 through the air last season for Oregon State. Let me tell you about Oregon State last year. DJ Uiagalelei kind of burst on that scene in week 0 at San Jose State. We all kind of scratched our heads and were like, whoo, damn. This might be that guy that during the COVID year filled in for Trevor Lawrence and was a superstar and set records for a couple games. And then he kind of just petered off. He was good. He was all right. He wasn't great. They had the backup come in every once in a while, every third series, I think it was. Aiden Childs came in, I think it was the third or fourth series every week. But DJ was all right. He was not threatening anybody. He was not threatening anybody in the Pac-12. So it was Damien Martinez who was the superstar. It was Damien Martinez who, when all is said and done, was being counted on for Oregon State to consistently move the chains. And so you're going from, if you're Martinez, going from a place like Oregon State where it's hard to be a star because everybody's looking at you, to somewhere else, theoretically, if he's air quote only making $400,000, he's probably going to go somewhere with more money, with more depth, more talent, and better coaching. So he's going to be probably stepping in somewhere that doesn't need him to be the guy. Doesn't need him to be a nearly 200 carry back like he was last year. So you're talking about being used in different ways, less tread on the tires, and potentially proving yourself to NFL scouts that you can do a variety of different things, because he's going to catch the ball a lot out of the backfield too. So if you're talking about transfer portal guys, right? We are 5 days away from the transfer portal, and we've heard some folks saying they're going to jump in, but obviously no one is set in stone. There's that computer, that program isn't open yet, but Martinez might be one of the biggest fish in that pond. He might be the best running back. I'm serious about that. It flew under the radar, that report from Pete Thamel, with the exception of the fact that he put in the dollar value, which is phenomenal. But it shouldn't. It should tell you that there are unhappy players who are making a ton of money that are going to be all over the place in this portal trying to get that bigger, better deal. And that's what he's doing. And he should. If he's only making 4 Gs, he's going to ball out. All right, Hayes Fawcett, good friend over at On3, talking about Bear Alexander, former Georgia defensive lineman. He goes to USC. He's got a good season. He had a decent year. In his 2-year college career, 56 tackles, 3.5 sacks, 4 pass deflections. Is he living up to his potential? Absolutely not. But maybe Bear Alexander is just a dude who is a decent defensive tackle who is more interested in settling in at a place that needs him rather than working hard to earn a spot on a defense that can play at an elite level. Because I'll be honest, when I saw this, my first response was, again with this dude? Again? Because USC thought he was the best thing since sliced bread. Sorry, Jimbo Fisher, not sliced bread. We don't want to talk about sliced bread in the college football world because obviously that dude is out for Jimbo Fisher. But that's neither here nor there. My thought on this was, dude, you can't be a star on the USC defense. What does that mean? It means maybe he does not live up to his recruiting hype. And there's some validity to that. But I think it goes much deeper than that. To me, it says this kid's not being coached. He went to USC for the glitz, the glamour, the LA, whatever. He went to USC to say, look, I'm going to help fix a defense that is so bad, so fundamentally unsound, and so embarrassing that can step right in and be a star. Maybe Lincoln just neglects his defense. Been telling you on this show for 2 months. Lincoln just neglects his defense. Doesn't care. Doesn't care. So if you're Bear Alexander, you're thinking, well, you know what? Let's go somewhere where I can be coached. Because it's not happening at USC. So there are 2 ways to look at this. Yeah, he might be a recruiting bust. Certainly a possibility. To me, this is a little different than what happened with Georgia in the sense that maybe he actually is looking out for his best interest, in the sense that he wants to find a way to at least be ready for the NFL because they weren't preparing him to do so at USC. I don't know. Might be one of those two things. Probably is one of those two things. But let's not call him a recruiting bust. You still got time to prove otherwise. Still got time to prove otherwise. That will do it for this edition of College Football Smothered and Covered. Hey, I appreciate you checking out the show. A reminder, please spread the word. Share it on X, share it on Instagram, share it on TikTok or Threads or wherever, Facebook. I want to be, and all of us here actually at College Football Smothered, we actually talked about this yesterday, how it's hard to get into the flow in the offseason. And quite honestly, I've been blown away with the response so far. So spread the word. Give us a 5-star review. If you don't like it, give us a 1-star review. Totally cool with that too. Until next time, have a great day, college football fans out there. We'll talk to you soon.